formulas. So if I have this formula, 8 times s equals t, I'm going to think to myself, what does this formula express? What's the rule? What does it represent? And what it's representing here is the number of triangles is 8 times the number of squares, or I can say that it's multiplying the number of squares by 8 to get the number of triangles. So I can say it in either way. So this is what it would look like then. So I have 1 square for every 8 triangles, right? And if I was going to try to figure out what this means, so if I have multiple triangles, so if I only have, 1 square, right? This would end up being 8 times 1 square equals 8, right? So the number of triangles there is 8. Now, what if I had 2 of these shapes? So now I have 2 squares. So my formula, I just plug my numbers in. 8 times 2 squares is going to be 16. So the number of triangles is 16. And I just keep doing that, right? So I have 8, now I have 3 times 3 squares, and that's going to give me 24. So I know that I'm going to have 24 triangles. And I don't need to keep adding and adding and adding and adding more columns and rows to this, or more rows to this, to find out, like, if I wanted to know, if I had 20, oh, that did not work, did it? If I wanted to have 24 squares, do I need to have that? Do I need to keep going in my table here in order to figure that out? No, I can just plug this into my formula. So 8, right? I have 24 squares, and then I can just use a calculator, right? And go 8 times 24, and that's going to give me 192 triangles. So my triangles would be equal to 192. Okay, so I can just plug that into the formula. I don't need to keep systematically going through my table in order to figure that out. Now, what if I don't have the formula, but I'm given a table? So I have 3 different tables here. And I want you to think about, so just do the first one. I'm just going to have you look at the first one and pause the video. And I want you to think, what would this formula be? And then come back. All right, so this formula has the input, right? And then I need to figure out what goes here, and then it's equal to the output. This is really too big. Okay. And if I'm looking for a pattern here. What is the pattern? So here, I know my numbers are getting bigger, so I'm either multiplying or adding. And I've realized that I'm adding 4 each time. So this would be my formula. Okay, input plus 4 equals that output. Okay, what I want you to do now is I want you to figure out the next 2 by yourself and then come back. So make sure that you're doing them and then just come back. Okay, all right. Okay, so when I look here and I'm figuring out what is the pattern here, so I've noticed that I am multiplying by 2 each time, and that is going to give me my output, right? And then if I look at the last one, I have my input, and then I'm noticing that they're getting smaller each time. And then if I look at the pattern that it's being generated, I'm noticing it's getting smaller by 3 each time. So I'm not dividing, but I'm subtracting. And that's giving me my output number. So I can put those numbers in, right? 8 minus 3 is going to equal 5. 7 minus 3 is going to equal 4. So that's how I'm figuring out those formulas. Okay, so we do have some problems for you, and come to the help session.